Hello, welcome back. Might as well go ahead and share a little bit of news on William and Harry. I know that everybody is trying to kind of keep them separated and have the focus be on grieving. The Daily Mail reports it's been a minefield. Royal aides admit to walking on eggshells around feuding princes William and Harry as brothers are ordered apart for funeral. Royal aides are walking on eggshells as they try to navigate the rift between William and Harry, sources say. It's emerged on Thursday that the princes will not stand shoulder to shoulder behind their grandfather's coffin. Instead, they will be either side of the cousin, Peter Phillips. Insiders stress that the arrangement should not be taken as a sign that the brothers have refused to walk alongside each other. This is probably to keep the press from seeing glances or just like at the last time they were together. Last March, so that they don't say that they're giving awkward glances. Here's a picture of happiness. The Queen reveals one of her favorite images with Prince Philip relaxing together. A Buckingham Palace spokesman said, "This is a funeral. We will not be drawn into those preceptations of drama. The arrangements have been agreed and they reflect Her Majesty's wishes." Sources did admit, however, that the fraternal feud has taken up much thought and energy in the Lord Chamberlain's office, which is responsible for today's arrangements. Here is an outline of the before and during service, how the princes are never side by side. You see up front, Prince Charles, Prince Anne. Second row, Prince Andrew, Prince Edwards. Third row, William, Peter Phillips, Harry. And fourth row, the Earl of Snowdon and Sir Tim Lawrence. And that is the procession going to the chapel. The lower portion is, and when they enter, once inside the chapel, they will again avoid standing next to each other, with the Duke of Cambridge going a step ahead of his brother, walking next to Peter Phillips as the group move in pairs then. So they're walking in, there's 2, 2, 3, and 2, and then when they enter into the chapel, it's by pairs. So again, you have the brothers walking next to Peter Phillips as the group move in pairs, and Harry will be in the row behind next to the Earl of Snowdon. Now, they may have to sit separately once they're inside the chapel, because I believe they still have to sit with their bubble. The Queen may be able to sit with one of the people who are secretary to her or reports to her, since they work with her on a daily basis, as will probably William sit with his family, and I would imagine the other men will sit with their families except for Andrew, whose ex-wife Fergie is not invited. The Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, and then it lists everything. Now this says 11 a.m. Philip's coffin will be moved from the private chapel to the inner hall of Windsor Castle by members of the Queen's Company, 1st Battalion Grenadier Guards. It says then at 2:15, representatives from the armed forces will be in the quadrangle to show Philip's military relationships. 2:20, members of the royal family and Philip's relatives who are not taking part in the procession will travel by car toward St. George's Chapel. 2:27, the Land Rover, which will bear Philip's body, arrives at George IV's gate and proceeds clockwise around the quadrangle to the Equerries entrance. 2:38, pallbearers carry the coffin through the inner hall to the state entrance, where it is loaded back on to the Land Rover. 2:40, members of Philip's household take up their positions in the procession, and the band stop playing music. 2:41, the coffin emerges from the state entrance and is met by members of the royal family who are walking in procession. 2:44, the Queen, attended by a lady-in-waiting, leaves the state entrance and joins the procession in the state Bentley. 2:45, the procession proceeds toward St. George's Chapel as minute guns are fired from the east lawn. And you can see how everything, it's got all the numbers there, and the movement entering in the gates, and then the second inside the green, inside the entrance, and goes right over to number 8. So let's see. Pallbearers at 2:38 carry the coffin through the inner hall of the state entrance where it is loaded back on the Land Rover. I'm sorry, I just said that. Going back, 2:40, members of Philip's household take up their positions. We did that. The coffin emerges from the state entrance and is met by members of the royal family who are walking in procession. Sorry, I just wanted to go over some of these again. I know we just went through those, but let's see, what do we have here? And okay, that's 9, 10. Excuse me for repeating those. 2:53, the Land Rover arrives at the steps of St. George's Chapel where the Royal Marines will lift the coffin and carry it inside. Number 11, at 3 p.m., a minute's silence takes place as the funeral begins. And I want to apologize. I think in my one video, I reversed the times. So it is at 10 a.m. in the U.S. on the East Coast, and it's at the funeral will begin at 3 p.m. in London. So excuse me for getting that backwards. I don't know what I was thinking. It says, police step up the presence in Windsor. And this is all to do, I believe, with the interview where Meghan has upset people and talking about accusing the royal family of being something. So now there's many more threats to the lives of the members of the royal family, although she would want us to believe that there's many more threats to her life. Not a possibility. Police step up that presence. Through the funeral, there will be scaled back fare, though it'll be just 30 mourners. Police will take no chances protecting the senior royals in attendance. There has been increased patrols from armed officers and mounted police in the area, while specialist teams and sniffer dogs search phone boxes, bins, and drains. Isn't that terrible? They've got to go through this. It just infuriates me with Harry's wife. I don't even want to say her name. Increased checks. Oh, and that's trending on Twitter. So don't use Meghan's name or Mexit. Use Harry's wife. She'll hate that because she likes having her name called out first. So increased checks will be carried out using automatic number plate recognition technology, which flags any suspicious cars that can be stopped and searched. Checks on heavy vehicles that are also being carried out, including inspection of the loads and of the driver's licenses. Anti-terror hostile vehicle mitigation barriers designed to thwart threats similar to the London Bridge terror attack in 2017 are permanently installed around the town. The public has been warned to keep away from the event, and a ring of steel will form around Windsor Castle today. Thames Valley officers will be joined by the elite SO14 Royalty Protection Group arm of the Met Police. Each senior royal has their own personal protection officers who in turn have a contingency capacity nearby. It is also understood that undercover police will patrol the streets near the castle. Former head of Royalty Protection, Di Davies, says the royal household and the Metropolitan Police have a lot of experience in planning these things, and you will need to prepare for them eventually. Everyone is walking on eggshells as to not exacerbate exacerbate. Yes, I apologize. The situation, said one. To be fair, both William and Harry have made it clear that they wish to focus on mourning their grandfather and do not want anything to get in the way of that. From what we understand, Harry's supposed to get on a plane right after the funeral. He's avoiding any conversations. But it has been made everyone doubly nervous about saying anything that could remotely be construed of being critical of the other side. It has been a minefield. Sources insist the formation of those walking behind the coffin was based on bloodlines and age. The group will be led by the Duke's two elder children, with the Prince of Wales, 72, on the right, and Princess Royal, 70, on the left. They will be followed by the Duke of York, 61, and the Earl of Wessex, 57. Prince Philip's three adult grandsons are next, with William, 38, and the elder brother Colum behind Charles and Andrew, while Harry, 36, will be behind Anne and Edward. Between them will be Anne's son Peter, 43, also is older than William. He is not a direct heir to the throne. Vice Admiral Sir Tom Lawrence and the Earl of Snowdon will follow behind the trio, with Philip's staff bringing up the rear. Tensions within the family have already seen the Queen change the dress code for the occasion. And I think that's a real shame that that Charles and William are not able to wear their uniforms. And I don't know if, I guess Edward would be able to, but we know Andrew and Harry would not. A royal ceremonial funeral normally involves honorary military uniforms, but Philip's mourners will be wearing daily dress instead, all so that the poor queen will be able to mourn her husband and not have to worry about all of this that has taken place in the family. And this, I blame Harry and his wife. This spares Harry from being the only member of the family, well, and Andrew, not in matching dress, as he was stripped of his military titles after quitting as a frontline royal. But we know Andrew wouldn't be able to wear his, and he has also been forced to retire. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. I'm looking forward to seeing the funeral, and I hope that it will be peaceful and go the way that Her Majesty would want it to, and Prince Philip, for goodness sakes. Put all of these rifts aside for at least that day, but Harry ought to be man enough and not such a coward to stay afterwards for at least another week. I would think he would be summoned to stay over there for 2 weeks before he gets back on a plane and travels back across the country or back to California. So I'll be back with you with more, and I'm just getting very upset with Harry's wife, but I'm trying to hold off on that until after the funeral. But this just gives us an idea of a little bit more of the planning that is in place for today. So I'll talk to you guys very soon.